Congressman Clyburn with us right now to talk all this. James Clyburn, of course, from South Carolina, the House Majority Whip. Congressman, very good to have you. A lot of people were impressed to saying you don't believe, this is a racist country, but you are concerned about it. What could you explain?
Well, thank you very much for having me, Neil. Please abide me just a moment. In the 1830s, 1835, 1836, Alexis de Tocqueville wrote about this country, a 2-volume work that he called Democracy in America. And it's interesting, to me, those two books are summed up in this one line. America is not great because it is more enlightened than any other nation, but rather because it has always been able to repair its faults. Now, he wrote that during slavery. Nothing can be less enlightening than slavery. Yet, in 1863, Abraham Lincoln moved to correct that fault. Now, we have some faults in our society today, and there's some faults within the institutions that we all rely upon. Law enforcement is one of them. Let's correct the faults. This whole notion about this argument that America is not a racist nation, nobody ever said that. Nobody ever said that. We never called for defunding the police. Somebody put that slogan into the process. I want to see enlightening policing. I want to see us do better recruiting, get better people in police departments. Let's pay police officers so that we can get better, so we can get better people. That's what we're all about. So I'm a little sick and tired of this argument that we keep going off in the different directions. So what my colleague...
Well, to be fair, Congressman, to be fair, a lot of it to begin with this discussion over systemic racism and whether that is the same as calling a country racist. I get what you're getting at, but I think that what Senator Tim Scott was getting in trouble for was for simply saying what the left is doing is fighting bigotry with bigotry, and they've exposed their hypocrisy and their true motivation. It has nothing to do with ending prejudice. What did you think of that?
Look, not much. Look, I used to teach this stuff. I've studied it all of my life, and I still study it. That's not what we progressives are saying. We progressives are saying that it's time for us to own up to the fact that we've got problems. Take what Mitch McConnell just did, writing about the 1619 Project. Who is unaware that blacks were brought into this country in 1619? For what purpose? To be enslaved. And they were enslaved for the next 244 years. For us to ignore that is to be ignorant about history and ignorant about the facts. So let's be factual about this. I want every one of my children and grandchildren to know what slavery was all about. If you don't learn the lessons of history, you're bound to repeat them. Thank you, George Santayana. I wish people would spend a little time learning our history so that we'll know what we should do to hold on to what's good and get rid of what's bad. That's what we all...
Fair enough. But the 1619 date becomes the new date at which you start the beginning of America. Those who want that project, as it's called, to look at America through that prism and the start of the country, which we tended to look at through the events on July 4, 1776, with the signing of the Declaration of Independence, should in fact go back to 1619, the start of slavery. Now, do you agree with that approach, that everything should be seen and the historic moves that were made in this country through that start date?
I don't know who used that. I don't use that as a start date. I know people who use 1492 as a start date. Both of them are wrong. Native Americans have been here forever. That's my law.
Well, that's a key part. That's a key part of this measure, as you know, that would become the starting point here. If they wanted to force that issue, and you're saying you don't think that's the case, would that be a mistake in your eyes, Congressman?
That is a mistake, because that's not the case. The case is 1619 was a start date for black folks in America. That's when my forebears were brought here enslaved against their will. That's what started on 1619. That was not the start date of America. Columbus
but you could
came in
include it.
1492.
You could include it in the history of this country. I mean, you don't want to ignore that. I understand your point, and it's quite sound. But you could, you wouldn't be scrapping one in favor of the other to teach all of this in part of a school curriculum.
That's what we're trying to do. When I was being taught history, I was not taught that. I was not taught that. And when I started teaching history, I told all of my students, I don't want you bringing dates to me. There's only 2 dates I want you to ever think about. 472 and 1066. And so I don't want these other things to be taught because they are not relevant. Columbus didn't discover America. America was here all the time. Columbus was lost. And let's just be sure about what the real history is. So you don't get sure about it by ignoring it, pretend it didn't exist. No, it did exist. Slavery existed. Jim Crow existed. And the Supreme Court of the United States in 1954 decided to repair that fault. Thank you once again, Alexis de Tocqueville, for recognizing what this real country is all about. Not about being perfect, but when you see a fault, repair it. We got a fault today in our law enforcement. Let's repair it. There's a fault today with 47 states now coming out with these voter suppression laws. Come on, United States of America. Let's repair that. Let's don't let people fall back into that kind of stuff. And you know what that stuff is.
Congressman, thank you very, very much. A lot of Italian Americans look at Christopher Columbus. He didn't get lost as much as he simply didn't ask for directions, Congressman. So that's a whole nother issue.
Well, I wish I was around at that time to help him.
Congressman, thank you very, very much. Be well, be safe this weekend.